spiritual autopilot. Spiritual autopilot. It's funny because I was listening to someone that was talking about something and it led me down to why would someone be spiritually unaware, right? And, as I'm thinking about this is a list of reasons. And at the top of the list, and when I say top of the list, it's not at the importance or it's not in order, right? But the first thing that came to mind was spiritual autopilot. Spiritual autopilot. This is a reason why some people would be spiritually unaware. So I guess I'm going to name this right here. Reasons to be reasons someone may be spiritually unaware, living on spiritual autopilot or living in spiritual autopilot. Whew, okay. So let's build the foundation. Spiritual autopilot is the condition of moving through life unconsciously, reactively, or habitually without intentional self-awareness, deep reflection, or conscious alignment between your thoughts, actions, values, and inner truth. And I'm like, okay, this is a lot because people assume definitions like self-awareness and don't really know what it means sometimes, right? So it's okay to go look these things up and be like, okay, what is self-awareness? What is deep reflection? What is conscious alignment, right? What are thoughts, actions, values? What is inner truth? Like really, what it really is, right? And to break that definition down is simply spiritual autopilot is living without truly examining why you think something, why you feeling, why you believing, or why you behaving the way you do. Okay. And I like to break it down, a little bit more. When I talk about autopilot, right, in this sense, I'm talking about automatic behaviors, automatic responses, unconscious repetition. I'm talking about routine-based living, reacting instead of intentionally choosing, like a plane flying on a pre-programmed setting. Do you have a pre-programmed setting that this is how you're going to respond every single time? This is how you're going to do things every single time, right? The movement continues, but the consciousness navigation decreases. When I say spiritual in this context, I'm referring to like awareness. And I was on a deep dive when it came to awareness. Let me pull my book out, right? To be aware means to have knowledge, understanding, or consciousness of a fact, situation, or sensation. What is knowledge? Knowledge is something you acquire through experience, education, or study, right? The something is, right? And when I say knowledge is something, what is the something? The something is awareness, understanding, or familiarity of facts, truth, principles, or skills. Right? But just going down. So let me come back because I could go down into a rabbit hole sometimes, but let me come back. So in this context, when I'm talking about spiritual, I'm talking about awareness. I'm talking about your inner life. I'm talking about your consciousness. I'm talking about meaning, values, purpose, connection to self, not necessarily religion, right? But if you know, if it resonates, right? So put it together, right? Spiritual autopilot happens when a person stops consciously examining themselves. They live through conditioning and habits. They react without reflection. They follow patterns unconsciously. They are disconnected from intentional awareness. You're like, okay, you're saying a lot, but I'm not tracking. Maybe some people are. Common signs of spiritual autopilot. A person on spiritual autopilot may repeat the same unhealthy cycles. I pause because I'm just giving you time to think. And I be thinking to myself like, dang, what unhealthy cycles have I been repeating? But then I want to go back a little bit more. Like, what unhealthy cycles have I repeated before, became aware of, and made changes to, and no longer doing it? And now going back into the current, like, okay, dang, what unhealthy cycles am I repeating? A person on spiritual autopilot may seek constant or consistent distraction purposely, right? Why would a person consistently want to be distracted? Why do we want to be distracted? We got problems we don't want to face. Problems, internal problems, right? It's better just not to see it. Because if I don't see it, I'm not aware of it, and I'm good to go, right? It's going to sound crazy, you know? Yeah, I know I do a show sometimes. Well, I used to, you know. And one of the shows we talked about, giving your partner a pass or cheating. And some people are like, you know what? If I don't know, and I don't care. You know what I mean? As long as I don't know, right? So what things in your life that, you know what? I really don't know. I don't care. As long as I don't see it, I don't care. Are you really looking for growth and improvement? Right? That's the question I would ask myself, right? A person on spiritual autopilot may avoid silence and reflection. Silence and reflection. Why silence? Because when you're silent, it tends to lead to reflection and thought and deep thought. A person on spiritual autopilot may react emotionally without awareness. Without being aware. What does aware mean? To have knowledge, understanding, or consciousness of a fact, a situation, or sensation. A person on spiritual autopilot may live only through routine. They may chase validation without understanding, why am I chasing validation? Have you ever chased validation, don't even know why? You had to think about that day today too, you know? And it could be in the slightest thing, like you at a restaurant with someone, you might be on a date, or you out with the family and you're like, I don't want to eat this in front of them because I know they're not going to validate that, right? Or I don't want to wear these pants or this shirt, or I don't want to wear this necklace or this ring, or I need to cut my hair, or I need to do this because they're not going to accept it, or I'm not going to be accepted, right? A person on spiritual autopilot may feel disconnected from their purpose. You ever felt disconnected from your purpose? How many of us out there be like, dang, I don't even know what my purpose is? Or you felt like that before. What is my purpose? Or maybe you know your purpose and you felt disconnected, like, I'm not doing it. I felt like that. You know what I mean? Like, dang, I'm not doing what I need to be doing. Right? Maybe I was on spiritual autopilot. You know what I mean? A person on spiritual autopilot may suppress emotions instead of processing them. Right? Fellas, we do this a lot. I'm going to hide these feelings. I'm going to compartmentalize them. Put them in the back of the file cabinet, at the bottom of the drawer, and put a whole bunch of stuff there so that way I don't even have to face it. Right? A person on spiritual autopilot may confuse survival with living. Survival with living. This is long, so I'm going to do a part 2. My part 2 is going to be what causes spiritual autopilot, and all these things is from my perception, my point of view, and I just wanted to share this with y'all. Let me know what you think about this. Like, signs of spiritual autopilot. What is spiritual autopilot? Autopilot. I talk fast. Sometimes I talk fast, too fast. But yeah, talk to me. All right, y'all. Peace.